Hey loves, thanks for tuning in to CYBTT. This is Cherish. Okay, so this video is going to be a CYBDT and stands for Cherish Your Beauty Discussion Topic. So I like to do these little talks where I discuss like experience or maybe some, I'm not gonna say advice because I'm not like a professional or anything when it comes to like counseling or anything like that, but I would say I give some opinions about like life situations and circumstances, and you know, I share some stories. So yeah, that's pretty much what CYBDTs are about. Just talking about different life subjects pretty much. So in this one, I'm gonna be discussing the time that I found out one of my best friends, someone that I grew up with since I was like 6 years old, ended up sleeping with my boyfriend. And yeah, I mean, they were not just sleeping one time, it was multiple times. So this happened about I want to say 15 years ago. Yeah, it's happened about 15 years ago. I'm going to be very detailed and just really talk about the back end, like the backstory and everything, just so you guys can get a gist. And then I'll lead up to me finding out and how I found out. And then also I'm going to be talking about my lessons and what I've learned from all of this, okay? And I just want to put this out there. I really don't want to look like I'm just sharing stories, just because I really do believe some people's experiences and my experiences can help you or help others in what they may go through. You know, we may have similar situations, and maybe something that I've learned could help you in a situation that you have came across. I am an open book. People are gonna talk regardless. Like I said, it could be beneficial to someone else. Okay, so let's get into the story. So it's this guy. I'm gonna call him Daryl. Okay, so this guy Daryl, I ended up meeting when I was in 9th grade, and this guy was so obsessed with me. We had like, I think PE together or something like that, but he used to always like, I heard that he liked me, but he used to always try to like, you know, come around me, hug me, you know, even kiss me or whatever and stuff, but I was just not interested. At the time, I just was not looking at him that way. So fast forward to 10th grade, for whatever reason, this dude, he looked completely different than what I remember him from 9th grade. I don't know if you guys can relate, but you know, back when I was in school, I felt like guys would completely change and transform during that summer break. They would either shoot up like some inches, they'll have some like, you know, like grown man looking things going on, you know what I mean? Like they'll just look more mature, shall I say, not grown man, but they would look more mature, you know? So I was just like, you know, 10th grade come around, I remember the first day of school, Daryl, you know, he was like, oh, hi Cherish, and I'm like, Daryl, is that you? And he's like, yeah. I was like, this dude looked completely different. So anyways, it just caught me off guard. We ended up having a class together. I believe it was, what class was it? Oh my gosh, I don't know. We're gonna just move on. So we had a class together, and then I just remember looking at him and was like, he looks good. Like, he is really cute now. Like, he just wasn't ashy. He just was dressing better. His hair, because he was this dude was mixed, so he just looked different. Like his hair was popping with the curls, and he just knew how to dress better. He was taller. I was like, how the heck did he get, because he wasn't as tall as me or taller than me before the summer break. And I was like, okay, he looks cute. So I just remember us like sending notes and send them, you know, to each other when we were in class and write each other back. So I just remember him saying he likes me still, and he's always liked me, and he wants me to be his girlfriend. And of course at that time I was like, okay, yeah, cool. So we ended up getting together, and it was just so much drama. some people like, oh my gosh, you guys are such a cute couple, you guys are. And then I had the haters, or people that was just like not for it, like, oh, why are you guys together? Like, they were not having it. So anyways, we were dating. It was like my first real boyfriend, and you know, I thought I really liked him, and we just got along and stuff like that. So it was around Easter break. Everything was going good, and supposedly Easter break, I couldn't go over to his house for Easter, and he didn't like that. And my mom, let me just put this out there real quick, my mom could not stand him. The first time, she was like, no, like she just had that feeling. You know, moms have that feeling. Now that I'm a mom, I understand that feeling. And not even before I came a mom, I understood that feeling that my mom had. Like, that's that gut instinct, that's that women's intuition thing that I learned to pay attention to, obviously, as I grew. But she just couldn't stand him, so she did not want me going over there for Easter. She's like, no, you need to spend with your family, and vice versa. His mom was the same. So anyways, we come back from Easter break, and he was just acting different, weird, just not wanting to talk. It was just weird. I'm gonna fast forward past all that. We ended up not lasting once that next summer came or whatnot. So school is usually like 9 months or however many months. So we dated for probably about 6 of those, and we did not make it when it came towards the summer. And it was just never clear to why he was acting the way he was acting with me. He acted like he didn't know me. When we went back to school from the break, he acted like, you know, he was just being rude, mean. He didn't want to talk to me. He was like, we're not together type of. I'm like, what happened? I was confused. So anyways, I blocked that out of my mind. I was the type of person where I was like, up next, I don't got time. Like, I just didn't connect emotions to certain things, I guess. So I went on about my life. Well, come around to 11th grade, my sister and I, we ended up switching schools because I have a twin. If you guys didn't know that, which you guys probably already heard that if you've been subscribed, but I have a twin if you're new. So yeah, welcome. I just kind of jumped into the story. I didn't even do like a formal introduction, but so yeah, 11th grade, I ended up going to a different school. But during that summer or whatever, the summer we broke up, I was hearing through the grapevine that he had went to a camp. He had went to some camp. Daryl just, I guess, was supposedly had some issues that I apparently wasn't aware of. I mean, obviously when he started acting weird towards me and like he didn't know me and we weren't even together anymore, out of the blue, I was like, okay, that's weird. But he was sent off to camp during that summer. So, and also during that summer, I had moved. So I had moved from my old house that I grew up in pretty much from the time I was 6 years old to, you know, later. I went to a new school. I was going through 11th grade, you know, normal. I'm like, okay, cool. It is what it is. 12th grade comes around. You know, 11th grade I tried to date, but I was just single. Like 10th grade was just like traumatic for me because he was like, Daryl was like my first real boyfriend, and I didn't really understand what happened. So I was just like, I don't want to try to date anybody else or anything. But 11th grade I did try to, you know, but those were fails as well. So 12th grade I was more open into becoming in a relationship. So in 12th grade, I ended up having extra credits, and I ended up being able to leave campus at lunchtime. So I only went to like 2 or 3 periods or something like that. But I ended up going to the old campus that I actually went to for 9th and 10th grade to do an ROP class, which is a regional occupational program, where they prep you for pretty much the field you want to go into. They prep you before you actually go off to college to do that field. So yeah, I ended up going to the campus that I formerly went to and happened to see Daryl. And Daryl was just like, oh, hey, you know, trying to talk to me. And he was like, oh, did you get my letters? And he was just like, I just want to apologize. I'm sorry for everything that happened and blah, blah, blah. And later on, it came out. He ended up telling me the reason why he acted like that is because his mom was like, you're young. She doesn't want to be with you like that. It's not a serious relationship to her. Like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that was that. It's all going to make sense, you guys, I promise. So since I moved, I was in the process of moving, we had a P.O. box. My mom would check the mail, and supposedly he was writing me letters from camp, but my mom was taking them and ripping them and throwing them away in the trash. So I didn't even know until one day when he said, oh, did you get my letters? I'm like, no. One day I happened to check the P.O. box, and I saw a letter in there from him, and I was just like, yeah, Mom was like, I didn't want you to read it. I didn't want you to read it or whatever. I don't want you to, he's, you know, poo-poo head. I don't want you to deal with him and stuff. So anyways, that was the one time I realized that he wrote me a letter, and I was like, well, I got one pretty much, and that's it. He's like, oh, I wrote you like so many letters. I was like, oh, well, I didn't get them, you know, I didn't tell my mom was throwing them away and stuff. So moving forward, like a few days go by, and he's like telling me like, oh, I went by your old house, but I'm like, why is he going by my old house? Like, weird stalker. So then he was like, where do you live now? And then what I did was, because I didn't think it was, I thought it was gonna be funny, I hurried up and said where I lived, and I hurried up and like said my number out loud, like really fast, like, oh, stuff, like that. Didn't think he was gonna remember. You guys, literally like the next day, this guy came to my house, my new house, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So fast forward, he pretty much begged me back, and my mom wasn't completely against it. I was kind of like skeptical. I was like, but he was like my first real boyfriend, so I was like, oh, I want to give him a try, because I still kind of felt like it ended on weird terms and no closure, so I wanted to try again. So we ended up trying again, and that was the worst thing ever. Never again would I ever get with an ex. Anyways, I'm married now, so yeah. So we ended up getting back together, and it was the worst decision, because that 12th grade year was supposed to be me being happy to graduate, prom, all of that. But when we got back together, it was just so much drama, you guys. Like, people, like I said, I was at a different school, and he was at the same school that we met. So 12th grade, he was at my old school, and I was at a new school. So we would try to meet up and stuff like that or whatever. And yeah, so the dude was just horrible. Now, let me tell you what I found out. I found out that this dude was a big, you know what, like, he was doing stuff, he started young, okay, but he was doing stuff behind my back to the point to where I had my own sister was like, oh, I saw him hugged up on a girl. And she told me this after the whole breakup thing, and then also a security guard telling me, oh, you need to watch your boyfriend or watch him. And I'm like, what? But he was just doing so much stuff that I wasn't aware of the first time, to where it didn't come out until the second time we are already dating. But he is just doing too much, you guys. And this is when the friend that I had since I was 6 years old, she was going to the school that I ended up going to in 11th and 12th grade. So she's always been going to that school. You know, we try to talk and stuff, because we kind of fell off a little bit, because we did go to separate schools. But when we went to the same school, we started talking again and hanging out again and stuff. But this girl, we're going to call her Tiana, she was just a fake. She was one of those that would just try to compete. Like, even though we grew up together and we were friends, and I felt like I looked out for her and stuff, she was just like, I guess, just wanted to feel like she was better. I don't know, or like, it was just, I just felt like it was competition. I don't know, and I don't compete with people, period. So anyways, that's how it felt. And so she, I was just so blind. But now that I'm thinking about it, but I guess she had an ROP class too, so she would go with me sometimes. So being nice, Daryl had a car. I'm like, oh, you can take her home and stuff, and, you know, take my friend home and this and that. So they'll, you know, leave. No, you don't do that. Okay, do not do that. But supposedly this girl Tiana was trying to tell me about what was going on during the due, but I didn't know. I was just kind of in my own little world when I was younger and stuff. But she would be like, oh, I met some guy and his name is the same. His name is Daryl too. And like kind of describing him. But it didn't click, you guys. I was so ditzy. Like it didn't click. She was like, oh, he has curly hair. He's mixed. Like it didn't click to me until after the fact. So long story short, me and Tiana ended up going to his house. And I just felt like he's not answering my calls. Something's going on. He's starting to ignore me again. And I'm like, I did not get with this dude again for him to play me. So I popped up at his house with Tiana. And I go in his house. I went through his garage because his garage door was open. I was like, whatever. So I went through his garage, opened up the door, go upstairs, and he's with this chick. Yes, this other girl, okay, and this fool only had his boxers on. And his brother and sister was trying to stop me from coming in the house. So I already knew of what I was about to see. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, I went off. And I was, you know, hitting him, smacking him. And I was just like, this is not really happening right now. Like, did I really just get played again? So that's what I was really mad about. Not because, I mean, by then, after all the stuff that was kind of coming on and coming out after the first time we were together, and I just already felt like he's playing me again. I was just kind of mad that I did that to myself, you know. Tiana was there. I'm bawling. I'm crying. I'm pissed. She's like, oh, it's okay. I'm like crying on her shoulder and stuff. Tiana knew what she did. Tiana knew what she did, or probably was still doing. I don't know. But yeah, I caught him with this girl. And instead of him chasing after me, he chased after the other girl. I was like, wow, like that really showed me like, wow, like I'm not gonna lie, it hurt me at the time, but I was like, oh. So after all this, you guys, like I was just so done. I was hurt, but I was like so like mad at the same time that I got played again by this dude. So yeah, it was time for graduation. I just decided to like secretly just apply for college and away from home and want to go to the dorm. So that's what I did. I ended up leaving. And I literally left 2 weeks after I graduated from high school. I left to LA. I mean, I lived in LA County, but I left like from home, away from home, like almost 2 hours away to, you know, LA, the heart of LA, to live on my own. And I was what, 17, 18 years old. And so yeah, I just started my life over. I just wanted to get away. I didn't want to be around anybody I knew. In high school, I didn't want to run into him. And I left. So, and I, you know, wanted to go to college too. So, whatever. That's what I did. Lo and behold, I had this one friend, Tiana, and I both had like this guy friend that we were really close to, that we all like kind of grew together while we were in high school since like 9th grade. So he was my best guy friend. So my best guy friend, I'm gonna call him Damon. Damon, he actually was like my ride or die. Like he was hecka cool. Just always was like, we were just always hanging out together and stuff like that. And he just always had my back. And he knew how much I liked Daryl. So Tiana and me and Damon, we would all hang out together and stuff like that. So when I was in 9th grade, he was actually in 12th grade. So Damon went off to the military. When Damon would come out to visit from the military, supposedly Tiana and Damon hung out separate and stuff, and Tiana told Damon what happened between her and Daryl. Like she told him that, you know, they slept together and blah blah blah, and she feels bad and stuff like that, but of course not to tell me. So this whole time Damon's not telling me anything. I'm like just thinking everything's cool. That's my friend. I got my ride or dies and stuff like that, you know, because I'm a loyal person. I like to keep people in my life, not just, you know, meet new people and be like, oh, we're besties. So I'm thinking everything's cool. I'm coming back home to my friends and things, and, you know, everything's good. Well, I guess Damon and Tiana got into it, and Damon played that part. He said, you know what, one day we were talking on the phone and just talking, and he was like, you know what, Cherish, I'm gonna just tell you something. And I'm like, what? Tell me what? He's all, because Tiana's getting on my nerves and she's this and she's that. And I'm like, what? Tell me what? He's all, man, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you because I already know, like, I already know how you feel, like, about this dude Daryl, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then finally he just tells me. I was just like so mad, so pissed, so I was just like, I can't believe this home record chick, this, you know what, y'all know what I want to call her, I can't believe she did this to me when I'm crying on her shoulder when I caught him cheating on me and stuff. So I'm just like, wow, like this is what's really happening. Is this really happening? Is this a movie? So Damon was working at a radio station while he was in the military, aside from whatever else he was doing. And he and I had decided to set Tiana up so she can pretty much be blasted all over the radio and tell me the truth on what she did and why did she do it or whatever. Even though Daryl and I were not together anymore or anything, not even talking or anything like that, it still was just like 2 years after she ended up doing that, I was still her friend. Well, yeah, so we decided to set her up so she can tell me the truth and be blasted on the radio. So what happened was Damon ended up calling Tiana and saying, hey, you know, but she didn't know he was at the radio station and she was on the radio. So he ended up calling her and it's like, hey, you know, I have you know, something to ask you. Like, so did you, you know, end up sleeping with, you know, Cherish's ex, Daryl, and blah, 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 all this on the radio and stuff. Like, kind of, he coerced her into telling him what she did. I know it sounds stupid right now, but what happened was after he pretty much got her to admit to what she did, I ended up popping in and was like, hey, Tiana, like, pretty much I just put her on blast. Was like, that's effed up, like, we're supposed to be friends, I've known you since I was like 6 years old. Anyways, we blasted her on the radio and then I hung up and I was done with her. Like, I was so done with her. Still, after that whole incident, she tried to be my friend and hang out and do all this other stuff, and I was just like, I'm cool on you. Like, it would just never be the same. Okay, so let me just be done with this story. So let me tell you guys what I've learned and just some insight to it. So after all of that happened, I just made up my mind that I can no longer be friends with her. Not because that incident. You know, on top of that, there's a lot of things that I realized I overlooked before that incident, which she did with, you know, to me. She would do that to everybody, you know, pretty much other close friends that we had in common and stuff. She would betray them doing some things behind their back. And I was just like, you know, I just can't be friends with someone like that. And even though she's reached out to me over the years, and even recently she did, I feel like I can never go back to that place of feeling comfortable around her, or even friends. You know, I just can't. You know, I'm married now, I have 2 kids. You know, my little circle is very tight, and I just feel like a lot of the friends I have been long time friends for years and years and years, and she would have been one of them. But unfortunately, that friendship ended the moment she admitted that, and at the moment that I realized that's what she did, I just cut her off, you know. And I just feel like in life you just have to do what you have to do and cut people off, because some people just don't deserve to be a part of your life and your journey. And for me, I'm not that one that is gonna pick a guy over a friend, or vice versa. I was done with both of them. Like, never again. This dude even tried to come back in the picture years later too. Like, look, it's over, it's never going to be. And I just feel like for me, some chapters just have to be closed and not going back into it or revisiting them. I feel like when you know, as far as your instincts, looking back, I'm like, dang, there were so many red flags, so many things that I could have, you know, avoided. But you know, I lived and I learned, and at the end of the day, I feel like I really pay attention to things. So that's what I was trying to get to. I really pay attention to details and red flags, and yeah, and I feel like people can't really show you their true colors if you just pay attention, and that's what I do now. And yeah, my friends now, I really trust them. But yeah, it's just keeping my eyes wide open and just paying attention to people and their behaviors, and not kind of overlooking things all the time. And that's what I've learned through that whole situation, okay? I learned to just look, Cherish, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna trust anybody around my man. Nah. I learned to really not take things out on myself, because I understood at a very young age that it's not me. It has nothing to do with me, the way people act and what they do. So I am glad I didn't take that situation so personal and like, oh my gosh, I'm just a horrible person, I will never find another person again or to love me and, you know, treat me right. Like, I didn't go through that phase. I just went through an anger phase where it was just like, oh heck no, I know I just didn't get played after you, the one that begged me for however long, and then I finally gave you a chance and you did that to me. Like, that's what I was mad. So I feel like this: stick with your first mind. I wasn't feeling him in the beginning for a reason. Something about him didn't make me attracted to him from the get-go. So I learned from that situation just to kind of pay attention. If it's not catching your eye right then and there, then it's a reason. And that goes for me too. I just feel like guys know what they like, and vice versa, women know what they like. So I feel like, yeah, I kind of was what is it called, bamboozled into that relationship, because I thought, like, you know, it was gonna be different because he chased after me for a while and I finally gave him a chance. So yeah, no. But anyways, I hope that made sense. I don't know if it did, because I'm kind of tired right now. And yeah, overall, from that situation of a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, cheating with my ex, or my boyfriend at the time, I just learned to move forward. You know, like, forget them. Like, forget people that do you wrong. If you know yourself and you know that you are worthy and you know what you're capable of and you know what's, you know, right for you, you're not going to get mad at what a person does that's against you or negative or causing you problems, because at the end of the day, you already know, like, it ain't meant to be, boo-boo. Peace out. Yes, it bummed me out. Yes, it hurt me at the time, but I didn't get caught up in the slump. And I looked at that experience moving forward into relationships. It was more like, I'm not going to just get with somebody that I feel like I liked after a while. Because I feel like maybe my spirit just already knew, you know, it wasn't going to be. But I just kind of paid attention to that. If I wasn't feeling you in the beginning, I more likely wasn't going to feel you later on. Or it probably wasn't meant to be. So that's how I looked at it. But, you know, things change, people change, perspectives change, you know, hey. But for me, it's more like a one-hit quitter. And I know I'm going off subject, but when I met my husband, I was like, oh, all day I was attracted. It was like boom, 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 boom. That's why we got married after 3 months of knowing each other. And that's going to be another story. I'm going to go ahead and end this right here, because I can go into a plethora of stories, but I'm not going to do that. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe, because I will be doing more of the CYBDT / story time, you know, all of that, because yeah, I really like doing them. And why not? It's kind of therapy, you know, you letting it off your chest if you're thinking about it. But yeah, so I am going to close this out right now. Thumbs this video up, you guys, if you guys want me to do more of these. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.